challenge for discipleship. So I hope everyone knows this book, and we'll be discussing one chapter from this book, Challenge for Discipleship. So before going to the concept, uh, actually, I would like to define disciple consciousness from the perspective of Tarkam Sergerian and esoteric ageless wisdom teachings. So first thing everyone should know that even the discipleship word and the teacher word and the teaching, all these things are not should not be personified. These are all not individuals. Disciple is not an individual, or a teacher is not an individual, or teaching is not a human matter. So we need to take and understand these words from the perspective of consciousness. So all discipleship consciousness people will be having so many personality issues. So a teacher consciousness is definitely a soul level consciousness, or a solar angel level consciousness. And as we discussed in the earlier classes, the avatars are more advanced, like they are cosmic level consciousness frequencies. So a disciple starts his journey from his personality or physical plane, and he wants to increase his consciousness awareness, so that one fine day he returns to his source. So that is the real definition of a disciple consciousness. So from the perspective of ageless wisdom teachings, I would like to read something regarding a disciple. Definition of disciple, or the word disciple, we need to understand in a very broader context. So there are many definitions of what a disciple is, but the most appropriate definition is that a disciple is an efficient person. So again, we need to understand the word efficient here. To be efficient means to have command of one's mechanism and of life in general at an increasing pace. That is what efficiency means. Efficiency means, as is efficiency is inversely proportional to self-interest. So if you want to really become a more efficient consciousness, the earthly interests or attachments or obsessions and possessions and egos, illusions, glamours, all these things needs to be overcome, and you need to have a control over your physical, etheric, emotional and mental mechanisms. If they are under your control, then you are known as a disciple who is getting fused with this higher consciousness. That is how you need to become efficient, not otherwise talking to 100 people, manipulating them, wasting your time, wasting your being uneconomical, uh, being very repulsive, and being very separatism is not efficiency, mark of efficiency. The mark of efficiency is going inside, working out all the things which are sapping up your energies, psychic energies, and overcoming and keeping the control over all your inner mechanisms is what discipleship is all about. An efficient person can put causes into action and produce results. See how beautiful this statement is. And the entire ageless wisdom, reading the entire literature of Tarkam Seredarian, we have four important points. The art of meditation means four very important points everyone should understand and remember. The first thing is cause, and the second thing is purpose, and the third thing is quality, and the fourth thing is form. So in everybody's life, the form is physical, etheric aspects. Quality means your emotional life. Purpose stands for your mental life, and cause stands for your spiritual spirit life, soul life, self life. This is what makes meditation so beautiful. And anybody who understands these four dimensions, he understands meditation properly, and a disabled consciousness person will become a universal consciousness. This is the way. Physical life is form, physical etheric. Emotional life is quality. Is it Rajogunamu, Satvika Gunamu, or Tamo Gunamu, or Nirgunamu? Mental life is about, everybody should know the purpose of mind, and the cause is spiritual life and spirit life. This is the four dimensions of art of meditation. So, how much you have known these four concepts, these things makes you a more efficient person. He acts as a spiritual dynamo and creates activities in far off places. He is a charge of psychic energy through his thoughts, words, actions, and enthusiasm. He makes machines and factories operate in many realms. He initiates causes that further the evolution of people. He is a disciple, not a person sitting idle in his home, postponing to take a class. All these people are not yet even disciples. Disciples are very punctual. Disciple stands for the word, and they keep up their promise, they keep up their commitment. A disciple is able to think, to speak, and to act independently without serving the interests of separate parties. This is inside story. Don't apply these statements to the outside world. Apply these things in the inside world. He is also able to keep silent, to renounce, and to disappear. He is often recognized by what he does not do and by what he does not say or even think. He is able not to follow associative suggestions and bribery. He keeps his mind clear. That person is a disciple consciousness person. His efficiency increases by the fact that his standards are high order, universal, and progressive. This gives him the chance to inspire people to strive to meet new standards of thinking, feeling, speaking, and acting. Efficiency is a characteristic of the human soul. The more soul a person is, the more efficient he is in helping the world to advance. By Torquem Sardarian. This is what a few words written by Torquem Sardarian about discipleship. And this is the book. And this book needs to be read by each and every student of Swajya Yoga. We have 57 chapters, and we need to have a 57 episodes regarding this book, because I treat this book as a practical Bhagavad Gita for a disciple to understand life. And this book, Discipleship, Challenge for Discipleship, is a Bhagavad Gita for a disciple to become himself a Krishna. A Arjuna to become a Krishna, this is a very practical book. And this is the Bible, this is Bhagavad Gita, this is the Quran for a disciple to become what he wants to become in his life. That is why we emphasize the importance of reading this book throughout your life. So today, what we'll be discussing is a chapter on hope. Hope means the real okay. hope in Telugu, we can call it as Druda Vishwasamu. Okay, don't get confused with so many words, because most of the people, if I talk about hope, they think that hope means is talking about something abstract. Hope is not an abstract concept. Druda Vishwasamu is not Muda Vishwasamu. People have a very different meaning about the word hope, because you see whatever is happening in on the earth plane, or if at all you observe from personality, uh, all the situations, all the things look so hopeless. So hopeless is so common. If at all you see or hear or talk or feel, everything is looking so hopeless. And so the antidote of hopelessness is a spiritual quality, is a soul quality, or a individual how he cultivates hope in a hopeless community, or a hopeless society, or a hopeless relationships, or a hopeless family life. These two things, every uh, disciple will have lots of experience in their own lives. So today we'll take an opportunity uh, to go and know the real science of hope, the real meaning part of hope, the anatomy of hope, the biology of hope, the chemistry of hope, the physics of hope, the architecture of hope, the economics of hope, okay, uh, the magnetism of hope, the repulsion of hopelessness, and how through meditation, through scientific thinking, and to looking into causes and not being more forms and results, a disciple can become an embodiment of hope, is what one can really learn and understand and get educated, educate himself properly, scientifically. Uh, that opportunity is what is created by Tarkam Saranarian, because he wrote so beautifully and simply and so subtle about the topic hope. Hope is a very positive, optimistic concept. So, if we all, if any disciple or myself in my own life, whenever I see more hopeless moments in my life, I take up this book and charge myself by understanding. Every time I read this concept, I get a new perspective or new understanding, which makes me free from the slavery of hopelessness moments. Meditation, or you sit silent, or you go into nature, whatever we do, if we are going in the right direction, that too in a spiritual direction, then gradually, slowly, the hope should increase in everybody's life. If we have hope in ourselves, in our own efficiencies, then we need to create hope in everybody's life. That is how the world is going to be saved. The world will never be saved by creating more hopeless situations, or hopeless words, or hopeless thoughts, or by having hopeless conversations. The world will not be saved. The world can be saved by understanding the word hope. That is why I have taken this opportunity to discuss about this concept called hope. So let's go ahead and let me share. See, these things are there free PDF file from tsgfoundation.org. Even people, they say they don't have this book, the discipleship, challenges for discipleship. This chapter is attached as a free PDF. in thgsfoundation.org. So see how beautiful this. You have to just sit with these 8 papers and spend some time. Then everybody will be out of their hopeless situations. I don't have to read. I think everybody can see them, see the pages. Okay. So, Challenge for Discipleship by Tarkam Saradarian, chapter 56, Hope. This is how we need to spend each and every day. One wonders, why is our recent psychology and psychiatry there cannot be found any serious study or discussion about hope. Hope certainly has a great effect on our emotions, our glands, and our behavior. Hope can change the chemistry of the secretions of the glands and the condition of the blood circulation. It releases energy from certain etheric centers and gives us courage and strength, bringing great changes in our electromagnetic field or in our aura. See, the opening paragraph will solve all your hopeless situation things, but I get so discouraged, even by telling them the address and giving these beautiful simple papers. Still, every time people come and complain about their hopeless situations. If your life is diagnosed with a hopeless situation, if that is the diagnosis, this is the remedy part. Everybody goes to a doctor for diagnosis. After looking for the diagnosis, doctors give prescriptions, and you need to follow the prescription. And if at all there is a hopeless situation in your life, this is the prescription. And if you follow this prescription, you will become more efficient. And if you are more efficient, you are a disciple consciousness, and you become an initiate, and you become higher initiation. You take higher initiations in your consciousness and reach your home. I really don't know why people never take up this chapter and read. Sitting in a hopeless scenario and discussing and expanding the hopeless scenario is not going to save the world. It is not going to make you a disciple. Slowly increase the moments of hope in your life. Hope creates a frame of mind in which man searches and strives continuously to find a solution. Because of such a positive tension, his higher self responds and brings the needed light. Hope prevents negative thought forms from building themselves within your aura. Negative thought forms are the cause of many failures. Hope creates a sphere of consciousness in which negative thought forms cannot breed. When the consciousness is free from negative thought forms, higher impressions can reach it and register themselves upon it. Most of our failures are the result of defeatist or failure thought forms. We not only create them, but we also import them from friends and enemies. Imported and created failure thought forms literally eat and destroy any positive or constructive thought form. Many people try to be successful, but when success approaches, they give up because the failure thought forms reverse the gears on your path. See, you can see your life in each and every paragraph. Hope prevents such an action. It not only nourishes the constructive thought forms, but also broadcasts them, thus creating a magnetic atmosphere around you. That is why I want everyone to take a class to have a self-expression for at least 1 hour, so that this whatever you speak for 1 hour will increase hope in you and others. And you have been, everybody is postponing that, and you are becoming more hopeless. Hope continues even if you gain the object you hoped for. Hope leaves you, enters a different dimension, and makes you search for it. Thus, you are led from one dimension to another because of the hope that is attainable and because of a hope that is still unattainable. A person, a group, a nation advances by hope. Hope creates a proper atmosphere in which growth and development become possible. See how beautiful the author is. There are three kinds of influential people. The first kind, the first kind are those who speak about doom, about final destruction, about annihilation, who pump fear into the hearts of people, using fear to control or exploit them. These are category one. And most of all the people you are surrounded with is this first kind of people. Okay. And the second kind of people are those who are very rosy and goody goody. Everything is beautiful and just right for them. They are satisfied with life. No matter what happens, they feel safe, content, and happy, and they sleep under the blanket of their goodiness until the flood comes and dumps them into the ocean. One of my teachers used to say that such people enter hell in their sleep. Such people allow evil to spread roots and branch out in such a immensity that people of goodwill find themselves incapable of fighting against it and stopping its growth. Because of their goodiness, they indirectly encourage those kinds of activities which eventually lead people into destruction. Such people are not only optimistic fools but also cowards who hide behind their selfish interest and let evil grow around them. The third kind of people are those who see the danger, the corruption, the pollution, and the evil of totalitarianism and take conscious action to prevent its expansion without pessimism but with inflamed optimism. They see the situations clearly, they see the difficulties and obstacles on the path, they see the growing power of evil, but they never lose their hope for victory over evil. Such kind of individuals are the discipleship consciousness people. The psychological and physiological effects of hope. If you have hope, you'll have balance of mind. Second, the psychological and physiological effects of hope. Stability in confusing conditions. The psychological and physiological effects of hope. Control over negative elements within us and around us. The psychological and physiological effects of hope. Aspiration. The psychological and physiological effects of hope are joy. The psychological and physiological effects of hope are physical strength, what you are all calling these days as immunity. The psychological and physiological effects of hope are better circulation of the blood. The psychological and physiological effects of hope are courage and daring. The psychological and physiological effects of hope are regulation of the glands and the function of the organs. The psychological and physiological effects of hope are healing. The psychological and physiological effects of hope are inspiration. See how many things are there. Hope creates spiritual magnetism which draws inspiration or clear direction from higher sources. Hope keeps the vision of achievement in our hearts in spite of all conditions, and thus keeps alive our aspiration towards the vision. Hope is psychic energy. It uses thought constructively. Hopeless thoughts never reach their destination. Hopeful thoughts reach their destination. If we analyze people, we see that hope has the following elements. What are the constitution of hope? You can go through all these 5, 6 points. First point, it is an image of achievement found within our minds. This is sometimes called vision. People who don't have vision will never have hope. Second, it is a conviction that helps from the invisible or higher worlds is a possibility. If you are hopeful, they will contact you. If you are hopeless, why would they contact you? It is a confidence that we achieve and accomplish something very beautiful, like these books. These books are embodiment of beauty, embodiment of goodness, embodiment of joy, embodiment of freedom, embodiment of striving, embodiment of righteousness, embodiment of sacrificial service. Fourth, it is an inner feeling that the next step for us is to move ahead and strive for victory. Fifth, it is the tension of evolution urging us towards greatest achievements. These, if at all you analyze people, we see that hope, these things are there in their lives. Now, there are various types of hopes. Hope for physical well-being, hope for emotional satisfaction, hope for mental illumination, hope for success, hope for spiritual victory, hope for immortality, hope for a great humanitarian service, hope for service for the hierarchy. See how many dimensions of hope you can see in this beautiful chapter, chapter 56, from Challenge for Discipleship. Now, the most important thing people will be asking, I think this question will be running in your minds. Sir, how can we increase our hope? And these are the answers. See how beautifully he structures each and every chapter. Read such kind of beautiful, uplifting books. How can we increase our hope? Step one, never hope for something harmful, neither for yourself nor for others. Very difficult thing. Nothing bad should happen to you. Let anything happen to others is what the attitude. Then you are not a disciple. Never hope for something harmful, neither for yourself nor for others. See, write this statement and keep it in your study room. Then it will be reminding you when once you fall into hopeless scenarios, this statement will uplift you. This is what you need to do. This is why I say these things are so simple and subtle. And you want all complex issues, non-subtle issues to understand. And once you want to understand, you only simplicity and subtleness will make you understand. Complex things are complex. How can you understand complexity? Try to see positive elements in any person or event. That is why it takes so much time to understand the word hope, because we are all people got conditioned to see all negative things. We don't see negative things in us. We see all negative things outside, and we are enjoying it, and we don't want to break that habit. That habit, if you break, you are out of suffering. You read Buddha, Krishna, Jesus, anybody, they say break the habit. And third, to increase our hope, we must also read the biographies of successful and victorious people. And till now, even people ask, sir, why should we read books? And see, the topmost objective of Swajaya Yoga is you want to become an embodiment of hope. Tarkam Saradarian says we must also read the biographies of successful and victorious people like Yogananda Paramahamsa, Osho Rajneesh, Tarkam Saradarian's autobiography, Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography, Nelson Mandela's autobiography, Mother Teresa's books, Rabindranath Tagore, Milarappa, Lao Tzu, all these things. Why? Because if we read their biographies and we know about their victories, our life will be filled with energy of hope. We should not read books to show off. And I never advocate to read books which teach you show off. Read books which will teach you hope. That is why Swajaya. Fifth, no one must run his life on the gears of defeat. Defeat and self-defeat are the result of hopelessness. Every time I say let's give opportunities to take a class, you always go on the gears of defeat and goes on postpone. You always postpone, we always give opportunities. This is how things run. Sixth, do not feel sorry if you failed or were defeated. To try to find out the causes of your failure and the lesson you can learn from your failure or defeat. Often through the hands of defeat, we discover the treasures of life. Wisdom is often the gift of failure. See how beautiful. Seventh, whenever you see difficulties on your path and feel discouraged, look back and see how many miles you already crossed on the path of your progress. He writes, in my childhood, when I would be traveling a long distance on foot, I would stop and look back and think, so many miles already trodden, I can do the rest. Past achievements can be used as sources of courage for future achievements. This is how you can become a hopeful consciousness, a disciple consciousness. And next, the most important, which I've been advocating, seek the company of successful and enlightened people. Seek the company of successful and enlightened people. We do the reverse. We sit with defeated consciousness people, unhappy people, and spend the whole week. And we come to a class to have hope instantaneously. Ninth, sit by a river and watch it flow. See, this is a very psychological technique, and you don't have to understand anything. Just go by a flowing river and sit by the side of it and just be there for 1 hour. See how hopeful you become. For I speak these statements, you may become hopeful or hopeless, I really don't know. But if you go really with your physical body and make yourself sit there, then you will become a hopeful person. Practically, then you don't ask proofs from me. 10th, try to face all your labors as if the one self is working through you for the benefit of the all self. See how beautiful this statement is. And the final line, every true disciple is a fear pillar of hope. See how beautiful that word hope. it fills our lives with hope energy and makes us recharged. This is how I could run Swadhyaya Yoga office for all these years. Only by reading these beautiful things written by beautiful souls. Hope all you people have enjoyed hope. This is our first session, and after talking to you all people, I'll introduce you another book. So I'm so happy to again redo this concept on hope, so that all people in YouTube can really go to this website trgfoundation.org and they can read this chapter on hope. Then the entire scenario will change. This has to be spread. The hope science has to be spread, and that is what is the objective of Swadhyaya Yoga. And we are very grateful to Tarkam Saradarian because he gave us so much of treasures in all his 150 books. So please go through this chapter and come out of that hopeless scenario. And I want to be surrounded by wanted to do. So that is what today's first concept is all about. It's all about hope. Hope is rocket science, space science. Uh, Hope is God science. Hope is meditation science. Hope is spiritual science. Hope is health science. Hope is success science. Hope is prosperity science. Hope is relationship science. Hope is a bridge building science. Hope is antakarana science. Hope is the essence of all cultures. Hope is an eternity science. Hope is a vertical technology science. Hope is a service oriented science. Hope is a upliftment science. See how many dimensions of this word hope. And every meditation sitting, every meditation session should increase hope in you. Meditation is directly proportional to hope. Scientific thinking is directly proportional to hope. And entire cosmic science, if at all you can see the space, the entire galaxies and cosmos, see the creation runs on the simple principle and science of hope. If the entire creation, for a given moment, if they feel hopeless, then everything is dropped. See, that's it. And we came onto this earth plane to transform our lives from hopelessness to hope, to transmute our lives from hopelessness to hope, to transfigure ourselves from hopelessness to hope. And how to achieve it? By regular scientific meditation, by reading the right books, and by being surrounded by like-minded people who want to evolve, people who want to progress. This is how hope is reached. This is how a disciple consciousness person, once he meets all his challenges or all choice making opportunities, if he makes all right choices, he will become a soul. He will get fused with his solar angel, and for some time that solar angel, after, you'll become your immortal self. These three things. That is what we'll discuss from a different author in the next session. Okay.